You have to create a culture of change so that people can deal with whatever changes are coming. I mean, we look at, just in the last few years, we went from having to post stories on the web to having to integrate social media to now having to move into mobile. I have no idea what's coming next. If you're afraid of change, that next one's going to be the hard one for you.
Change needs one thing to be successful. It needs buy-in. It needs buy-in from everyone who's in that newsroom. Without it, you're going to fail. No question you're going to fail if you don't have buy-in. But if you have it, it will run through like crazy because everyone will want to be part of it.
I think one of the things for mid-level managers to really remember is that you may not always agree with your news director or your company's stance on something or your general managers. And it is perfectly appropriate to walk into the news director's office behind closed doors and have that frank conversation. And then you must walk out and say, we are doing this. Not my news director's making us do this, the company's making us do this. And I think that sometimes we as mid-level managers think if we can step away from the decision that we don't like and say, well, he's making me or the company's making me, that makes us look better. I will tell you it actually makes you look weaker, that you really don't have a say or you're not involved in it. So, we all have to march the same direction, the same way, and you have to be on the team.
Doesn't mean we have to give something up when change comes. What it does mean is that we have to be willing to experiment. We have to be willing to invest in trying things out, knowing that most of the time we will fail. But from every single failure we have, we will learn something. And most obviously we'll learn what doesn't work. But we will also learn what we need to do next in order to continue experimenting down the road.
You have to facilitate change. You have to make sure that you're always evolving what you're doing. You're always including people in conversations. One of the ways that you can drill change into people is by taking the time to explain why you need to change. If people understand that a lot of it is training to be ready to take on the future, they're much more likely to invest the time into the change as opposed to, why are we doing this now? Every week they're giving me something new and we have to change something else. But if you understand that's part of what we're all learning how to do so that we don't become obsolete, it becomes a lot easier to deal with.
So no matter what the new thing is, we have to remember that we have to keep teaching the people who are there. We have new people coming in. We're going to have to keep teaching them. And we are in a constant cycle of trying to teach people these new things that are happening in our newsroom.
Change is coming. And so we want newsrooms full of people who embrace the idea of change. After all, isn't that journalism? We want people to be curious. We want our journalists curious people. We want them to want to learn more about what's going on, whether that's an issue in state government or a new technology that's out there. And we have to be willing, and this is maybe the hardest thing. Those of us who work in leading newsrooms, we have to be willing to change the way we work. And that might be the hardest part of all.